Get out, did I hash? You are not my class, you useless thing!
Welcome to Reality Folktales TV. This channel is built on real human emotions, real choices, and real consequences. Our stories are thoughtfully created with the help of AI, guided by human values, insight, and intention. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's go.
I married him when I had nothing. I built him. I worked 3 jobs to put him through medical school while living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Chicago where the heating barely worked and the neighbors fought every night. I held his hand through every exam, every failure, every doubt. When he finally became Dr. Vincent Janas, the celebrated cardiologist, I stood beside him at every hospital gala in borrowed dresses, smiling like I belonged. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of sacrifice. And then one morning, he looked at me across our marble kitchen island and said, "You're not my class anymore, Lisa. You never were." He wanted a divorce. No warning, no conversation, just papers on the counter next to my coffee. His new girlfriend was pregnant, a pharmaceutical sales representative named Vanessa, young, polished, the kind of woman who wore heels to the grocery store. He moved her into a penthouse in downtown Chicago 3 weeks after I signed the papers. I moved into my late grandmother's old row house on the south side, the one I grew up in, the one I swore I'd never return to. But here's what Vincent didn't know. While he was building his career, I was building something too. Every night after my shifts as a hospital administrator, every weekend he spent at conferences, I went to night school, business school. I learned, I networked, I invested every dollar I saved. And when my mentor, an elderly hospital investor named Damien, passed away, he left me something in his will: controlling shares in Grace Memorial Hospital, the biggest private hospital in Chicago. Hey, quick question. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Drop a comment below. And don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear this story. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. I didn't tell anyone, not my family, not my friends. I used a management company to run things quietly while I learned the ropes. Vincent had no idea. To him, I was just his broke ex-wife who couldn't afford her own lawyer. 6 months after the divorce, I got the call. Vincent's pregnant girlfriend had been rushed to the emergency room. High-risk pregnancy complications. And guess which hospital the ambulance took her to? Grace Memorial, my hospital. I was in my office when my assistant knocked. "Ma'am, there's a situation in the ER. A Dr. Janas is demanding special treatment for a patient. He's being quite aggressive with the staff." My heart stopped. Then it started racing. I pulled up the patient file on my computer. Vanessa Morrison, 28 years old, 26 weeks pregnant, severe preeclampsia. The baby was in distress. I stood up, smoothed my black pencil skirt, checked my reflection. I looked different now, professional, powerful. My hair was cut into a sharp bob. I wore glasses, designer ones. I'd lost weight from stress, but I carried it differently now, like armor. I took the elevator down to the ER. My heels clicked against the tile floor as I walked through the automatic doors. And there he was, Vincent, packing outside a patient room. His hair was grayer than I remembered. His face was tight with worry. He was yelling at a nurse. "Do you know who I am? I'm a cardiologist at Northwestern. This woman needs immediate attention. Where is your supervisor?" "I'm the supervisor," I said. My voice cut through the chaos like a knife. Vincent turned. His eyes met mine. For 3 full seconds he didn't recognize me, then his face went white. "Lisa." "It's Ms. Raymond now," I said coldly. I took back my maiden name. I folded my arms. "I'm the chief operating officer of Grace Memorial Hospital, and you're harassing my staff." His mouth opened, closed, opened again. You work here." "I own here." I let that sink in, watched his face process it, the shock, the disbelief, the humiliation. Now what seems to be the problem? He stammered, actually stammered, the man who told me I wasn't his class. "Vanessa, my girlfriend. She's pregnant. She needs help. They're saying they need to run tests first, but she's in pain and our medical team is following protocol," I interrupted. "This is a hospital, Dr. Jonas, not a drive-through. Your girlfriend will receive the same quality care as every other patient." "But she could lose the baby." His voice cracked. For a moment, just a moment, I saw the man I used to love, scared, vulnerable, human. I softened slightly. "Dr. Jonas, Vincent, I'm not going to let anyone die in my hospital, but I'm also not going to let you bully my staff. If you want special treatment, you're in the wrong place. If you want excellent medical care, you're exactly where you need to be. Now sit down, be quiet, and let my doctors do their job." He sat like a scolded child. I turned to the nurse. "Update me on the patient's status." "Severe preeclampsia. Ma'am, BP is 160/110 and climbing. We've got her on magnesium sulfate. Dr. Rahman is prepping for an emergency C-section if the baby shows further distress. We're running labs now." I nodded. "Keep me posted. And someone bring Dr. Jonas some coffee. He looks like he's about to pass out." I started to walk away. Vincent's voice stopped me. "Lisa, thank you." I didn't turn around. "It's Ms. Raymond, and I'm not doing this for you." Over the next 3 hours, I monitored the situation from my office. Vanessa's condition stabilized. The baby's heart rate improved. Dr. Rahman, our best maternal fetal medicine specialist, decided to keep her under observation rather than rush into surgery. It was the right call. But then my assistant buzzed me. "Ma'am, Dr. Jonas is asking to speak with you. He says it's urgent." I sighed. "Send him up." Vincent entered my office like he was walking into a stranger's home. He looked around at the dark wood furniture, the framed degrees on the wall, the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Chicago's skyline. This office used to belong to Damien. Now it was mine. "Nice office," he said quietly. "What do you want, Vincent?" He sat down without being invited, rubbed his face with both hands. "How did this happen? How did you? When did you?" "When did I become successful?" I finished. "While you were sleeping with Vanessa, while you were telling me I wasn't good enough, while you were erasing 10 years of marriage like they meant nothing." I leaned forward. "I was working, Vincent. I was building. I was becoming someone who didn't need you." "I didn't know," he whispered. "Of course you didn't know. You never asked. You never cared. You saw what you wanted to see, a tired wife who worked in hospital administration. You never saw me studying at midnight. You never saw me networking at conferences. You never saw me because you stopped looking." He was quiet for a long time. Then, "I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't pay my legal fees. Sorry doesn't give me back 10 years. Sorry doesn't erase what you said to me." I stood up. "Your girlfriend is stable. The baby is stable. You can go home." "I can't leave her here." "Then don't. But you can't stay in my hospital acting like you own the place. You're a visitor here, Vincent. Act like one." He left. I sat back down and stared at the Chicago skyline. I thought I'd feel victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. At midnight, I did my rounds. I always did. I liked to see the hospital at night. The quiet halls, the beeping machines, the nurses working the graveyard shift. I checked on the maternity ward. Vanessa was sleeping. Vincent was beside her bed, holding her hand, his head resting on the mattress. He looked exhausted. I stood in the doorway just watching. This was his new life, his new love, the woman who fit his image of success, young, beautiful, uncomplicated. But she wasn't the one who held him when his mother died. She wasn't the one who worked doubles to pay for his textbooks. She wasn't the one who believed in him when he failed his boards the first time. I was. A nurse approached me. "Ms. Raymond, we need you in the billing office. Dr. Jonas's insurance won't cover the full cost of the extended stay. He's arguing with the night administrator." Of course he was. I walked to the billing office. Vincent was there, frustrated, running his hands through his hair. "This is ridiculous. Her insurance should cover this. Why are you charging for? Because hospital care costs money, Dr. Janas, the night administrator said patiently. Her insurance has a deductible. This is the amount you're responsible for. Vincent looked at the bill. His face went pale. $15,000. For 3 days of high-risk pregnancy monitoring in a private room with specialist care. That's actually below market rate, I said from the doorway. Vincent turned. Lisa, I can't afford this right now. I just bought the penthouse and the wedding is next month end. Not my problem. I walked to the desk, looked at the bill, looked at him, saw him squirm, saw him realize that for once in his life he needed me more than I needed him. I could have walked away, I could have made him suffer, could have made him beg. But when I looked at him, I didn't see the man who broke my heart. I saw the boy I fell in love with in college, the one who wanted to save lives, the one who cried when he delivered his first baby, the one who got lost somewhere along the way. Waive the excess charges, I told the administrator. Bill the insurance and call it even. Ma'am, that's final. I looked at Vincent. Consider it a wedding gift, but Vincent, you owe me nothing. We're done, completely done. Don't ever ask me for anything again. I left him standing there, speechless. 2 weeks later, I was in a board meeting when my assistant interrupted. Ms. Raymond, I'm so sorry, but there's an emergency. It's about Vanessa Morrison. My stomach dropped. What happened? She went into labor, full arrest. They're doing an emergency C-section right now. Dr. Janas is asking for you. I ran, literally ran through the hospital corridors, burst into the surgical wing. Vincent was outside the OR, still in his street clothes, tears streaming down his face. They won't let me in. She's bleeding, the baby. They don't know if. Lisa, please. I grabbed a nurse. Status. Placental abruption. She's hemorrhaging. Baby's in distress. Dr. Rahman is operating now. I looked at Vincent, saw his whole world collapsing. Come with me. I took him to the viewing gallery above the OR. We could see everything through the glass. Vanessa on the table, the surgical team working with precise urgency. Dr. Rahman's hands moving quickly. Blood, so much blood. Vincent gripped the railing. I can't lose them. I can't lose both of them. You won't, I said, but I didn't know if that was true. We stood there for 45 minutes, the longest 45 minutes of my life, and probably his. Finally, we heard it. A baby's cry, thin, weak, but there. Baby boy, a nurse announced. 4 pounds, 3 ounces, he's breathing on his own. Vincent collapsed, just fell to his knees, sobbing. Thank God, thank God. But Dr. Rahman was still working. Vanessa was still bleeding. I watched the monitors, watched her blood pressure drop, watched the team scramble. She's still bleeding out, I whispered. Vincent looked up at me, his face destroyed. What? I pulled out my phone, called my head of surgery. Get Dr. Williams in there now. Rahman needs help. Tell him I authorized it. Within minutes, Dr. Williams, our top vascular surgeon, was in the OR. Together they worked, cauterized, stitched, fought for her life. 20 minutes later, her vitals stabilized. The bleeding stopped. She was alive. Vincent stood beside me. We didn't speak. We just watched. 2 people who used to be everything to each other, now strangers watching his new family survive. Why did you help me? He finally asked. After everything I did to you, why? I was quiet for a long time. Because I'm not you, Vincent. I don't abandon people when things get hard. I don't throw away the people who love me. I don't forget where I came from. I looked at him. You told me I wasn't your class, but class isn't about money or status or who you know. It's about character. And I have something you'll never have. I have integrity. He couldn't look at me. I was wrong about everything. You were always too good for me. I know. I headed for the door. Your son is in the NICU, 4th floor. And Vincent, name him something meaningful. Name him something that reminds you to be better. I left him there, alone with his guilt and his second chance. The next morning I got a visitor. Vanessa, in a wheelchair, pale and weak but alive. A nurse wheeled her into my office. "Ms. Raymond," she said softly, "can we talk?" I gestured to the chair. The nurse helped her transfer, then left us alone. "How are you feeling?" I asked. "Like I almost died." She tried to smile, failed. "They told me you saved my life, you and your team. Dr. Rahman and Dr. Williams saved your life. I just made a phone call. Vincent told me who you are, his ex-wife, the one who he left." She looked down at her hands. "I didn't know. When we met, he said he was divorced, that it was amicable, that you'd grown apart. He never told me that you put him through medical school, that you sacrificed everything for him, that he left you for me." "He didn't leave you out of the story to protect you," I said quietly. "He left you out to protect himself." She nodded, tears fell. "I'm 28 years old. I thought I was special. I thought I was different, but now I see it. I'm just younger, shinier, the new model, and someday I'll be the old one too." I wanted to hate her. I should have hated her. But looking at her, I just saw a young woman who believed a liar, who was now tied to that liar forever through a tiny baby in the NICU. "You almost died bringing his child into the world," I said. "That should tell you something about the cost of loving Vincent Jonas. Is it worth it?" She was quiet for a long time. "I don't know anymore." "Then figure it out. Before you wake up 10 years from now and realize you gave him the best years of your life and got nothing but heartbreak in return." I stood up. "Your son is beautiful, by the way. I checked on him this morning. He has your eyes." She smiled through her tears. "Thank you for everything. I know you didn't have to help us. I didn't do it for you or for Vincent. I did it because I'm a healer. It's who I am. It's who I was before Vincent and who I'll be after him. Some of us don't lose ourselves when we lose love." She left. I sat back down, stared at the city outside my window, and for the first time since the divorce I cried, not because I lost Vincent, but because I finally realized I'd never really had him, not the way I deserved. A month later, I was at a hospital fundraiser. Black tie event at a downtown Chicago hotel. I donated $100,000 to the children's wing. They were nomming a play area after my grandmother. Vincent was there, with Vanessa and the baby. They looked like a magazine cover, the perfect family. He saw me across the room, raised his champagne glass in a silent toast. I nodded, turned away. A man approached me, mid-40s, kind eyes, a professor of medicine at Northwestern. "Ms. Raymond, I'm Dr. James Michael. I've heard amazing things about the work you're doing at Grace Memorial." We talked for hours about medicine, about reform, about the future of healthcare. He made me laugh, really laugh, for the first time in months. As the night ended, he asked for my card. "I'd love to collaborate on some research initiatives, if you're interested." I smiled. I might be. As I walked to my car, Vincent caught up with me. "Lisa, wait." I stopped, turned. "What?" "I saw you with Dr. Michael. He's a good man." "I know. I just wanted to say, I'm glad you're happy, or at least I hope you will be." He shifted awkwardly. "And I wanted to tell you, we named him Damien, the baby, after your mentor." Vanessa agreed. It felt right. Something in my chest cracked. "That's a good name." "Lisa, I know I can't undo what I did. I can't give you back those years, but I want you to know that you were never not my class. You were always better than me. I just couldn't see it. And by the time I did, I'd already lost you. You didn't lose me, Vincent. You threw me away. There's a difference." I opened my car door. "But I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." I drove away, left him standing in the parking lot, left him in my past where he belonged. 3 years later, Grace Memorial Hospital is the top-rated private hospital in Chicago. I expanded, opened 2 more locations, started a foundation that gives scholarships to low-income students pursuing healthcare degrees, in memory of my grandmother, in memory of the girl I used to be. I married Dr. James Michael in a small ceremony in New York. No big wedding, no show, just us and the people who loved us. Vincent sent a card. It said, "Congratulations, you deserve every happiness. Thank you for teaching me what true class looks like." I never wrote back. Some chapters don't need an epilogue. I see him sometimes, at medical conferences, at hospital events. We're cordial, professional, but we're strangers now. The kind of strangers who used to know every scar on each other's bodies but can't remember each other's favorite songs anymore. And Vanessa, she left him 2 years after the baby was born. She'd finished nursing school and realized she didn't need him either. Last I heard, she's working in pediatrics in Los Angeles, happy, free. I sent her flowers when I heard. No card, she'd know who they were from. The truth is, Vincent didn't just lose me when he signed those divorce papers. He lost the person who believed in him most, the person who would have walked through fire for him, the person who loved him when he was nobody. And you can't get that back, not with money, not with apologies, not with regret. You can only learn from it, and I hope he did, for little Damien's sake. I hope he learned that the woman who works 3 jobs to put you through school is worth more than every woman who loves you because you're successful. I hope he learned that loyalty isn't weakness. That sacrifice isn't stupidity. That love isn't supposed to be disposable. But even if he didn't learn, I did. I learned that you can survive the worst heartbreak of your life and come out stronger. I learned that sometimes the people who underestimate you give you the greatest gift. They give you something to prove. I learned that success isn't about making someone regret losing you. It's about becoming someone you're proud to be. I learned that I don't need to be anyone's class. I set the standard. And most importantly, I learned this. The best revenge isn't success. It's indifference. It's building a life so full of purpose and joy and meaning that the person who broke you becomes a footnote in your story instead of the story itself. Vincent Jonas was my chapter, but he's not my book. My book is still being written, and it's going to be a bestseller. So here's what I want you to know, whoever you are, wherever you're watching this from. If someone tells you you're not good enough, believe them, not because they're right, but because they're showing you who they really are. And when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Then walk away. Build yourself. Invest in yourself. Become the person who makes them realize they were never your class. Don't waste years trying to prove your worth to someone who's already decided you're worthless. Your worth isn't up for debate. It's a fact. And the people who can't see it don't deserve a front row seat to your success. Vincent thought he was trading up when he left me for Vanessa, but really he was trading away the only person who loved him unconditionally, and you can't put a price on that. You can't replicate it. You can't earn it back. All you can do is live with the loss, and watch from a distance as the person you underestimated becomes everything you pretended they could never be. That's the real story. That's the real ending, not revenge. Not bitterness, just quiet triumph, just becoming, just proof that you were always enough. They just weren't enough to see it. And now, years later, when I walk through the halls of my hospital, when I see the lives we save and the families we help and the difference we make, I think about that morning in the marble kitchen when Vincent told me I wasn't his class. And I smile because he was right. I'm not his class. I'm in a league of my own. Always was, always will be. The moral, never let anyone's limited vision of you become your reality. Don't shrink yourself to fit into someone else's small expectations. And remember, the person who's meant for you will never make you feel like you have to earn your place in their life. You'll just belong there, effortlessly, completely, always. As for Vincent, I heard through the hospital grapevine that he's dating again. Some lawyer from Connecticut. I hope she's smart. I hope she asks the right questions. I hope she doesn't make my mistake of loving him more than she loves herself. But that's not my story to tell anymore. My story is here, in these walls, in this work, in the lives changed and the futures saved and the hope restored. My story is the girl from the south side of Chicago who was told she'd never amount to anything, who built an empire anyway. My story is proof that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the best thing, because it forces you to find out who you really are when everything is stripped away. And who am I? I'm Lisa Raymond, hospital owner, philanthropist, wife, fighter, survivor, victor. I'm the woman Vincent Jonas told wasn't his class. And I'm the woman who proved that true class can't be bought, can't be faked, and definitely can't be measured by the person who's standing next to you. It's measured by what you do when you're standing alone, and I'm standing pretty damn tall. So that's it, that's my story. If it touched you, if it moved you, if it reminded you of your own strength, do me a favor, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me your story. Where are you watching from? What time is it? And most importantly, what's the lesson you learned from your own heartbreak? Let's build a community of survivors, of fighters, of people who refuse to stay broken. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong. Stay fierce. And remember, you were never too little. They were just too blind to see how much you were.
Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. May your day be blessed